I'm shifting my advocacy from politics. We don't have political problems anymore. We have spiritual problems. The inability of people to deal with the truth is a spiritual problem.
Welcome to People in Common. I'm Jema Adams. This is a podcast where we talk to leaders about connecting their personal stories to what's happening in this moment. What are we supposed to do? How do we translate values into action? How can we be people in common? Reggie Hubbard, welcome. Welcome to People in Common. It's so good to have you.
Happy to be here.
All right, everyone, in for a treat. Reggie Hubbard, activist, turned yogi, turned activist, and yogi. And we're in for a real special experience right now, so take it away, Reggie.
So, dear listener, you may not be familiar with meditation, but there's a first time for everything. So I invite you to find a posture in your body that is open in the chest, relaxed in the shoulders. Feet flat and soft, so we typically have our feet crunching into things. Allow the toes to splay. And soften or close the eyes because we look too much. We use the eyes too much. Our eyes are overstimulated and underappreciated. So understimulate them and super appreciate them now. And forget what was before now, forget what's after now, and be here right now. What does that mean? That means just feel the feet on the ground. Feel the breath in the body as the chest and belly rise on the inhale and fall on the exhale. And notice that as you take these actions, the world is still worlding, but your attention is on something else. In my meditation classes, I talk about the difference between awareness and attention. We can be aware of things because we should for our survival. However, paying attention to things that don't matter wastes this thing called life. So in this moment, all that matters is your feet on the ground, the breath in the body, and some level of clarity in the mind. And if that is difficult for you, allow me to play this 300-year-old sound bowl specifically designed to clear the mind. I call this particular bowl the bell of the ball. It is the queen of the chamber. I'll play it 3 times to allow the mind to focus on something other than thought. Take a deep inhale through the nose. Audible exhale out the mouth. And when you're ready, please release the meditation.
Thank you.
Absolutely, for sure.
All right, I figured let's start with some of the genius that is Reggie Hubbard. I'm truly delighted to have you today. Thank you for agreeing to do this. We're going to get into sort of the point of things these days of what the heck is happening, what do we do about it? And I know that the right place to start, though, is get to know you a little bit and hear anything you want to start with.
I mean, let's begin at the beginning, meaning I'm the most non-traditional yoga and meditation teacher on the game right now. And it's a delight, right? You know, my teaching practice, Active Peace, is also the name of my LLC because there is no separation between my spiritual practice, my livelihood, and my teaching practice. Like, it's all the same thing.
Congratulations.
Yeah, huh? Absolutely, right? So there is no division of labor. It's all the same thing. And I started practicing yoga to not curse out my boss. It wasn't to be a teacher. Like, I was in a horrific job situation in Denver, Colorado, with well-meaning white people who were super liberal in their philosophy, but super regressive in their lived experience. And I had moved. Yeah, well, I mean, that's not just particular to nonprofits, right? It's particular to politics, all of it, right? And so in this experience, I was 40 years young, and I had started practicing yoga to get through a terrible, it was actually a beautiful thing, but in the moment it was super terrible. In 2014, I was up for two major positions in the last throes of the Obama era. One was to be the Deputy Assistant Secretary of International Education. The other was to be Deputy Chief of Staff at Education. Pushed in all my chips, called in all my favors, like had everybody in, because you know how that crazy world works, and or doesn't work, whatever.
I was just gonna say,
yeah,
I think we're learning how it doesn't. Yep.
Yeah, it's dystopian even with your allies. So I made it to the top two for both of those jobs and got neither one. Oh my God. So that's the equivalent, for those of you unfamiliar with politics, that's like asking someone to marry you and they tell you no. So I had to leave town, right? Like, I had to get out because I had no more political capital in terms of, I was in the advanced world, so I had to, that was my effort to get out, and I couldn't. And so I was like, well, if you're not going to let me out, I'm just going to leave. I'm going to break up with all this shit, and I'm going to go ahead.
That is, it's so fascinating, because that moment, what was the major emotion driving the need to peace out completely?
Disgust.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I did all the things. I did all the things.
And I did all the things. You know, I went to Yale. I'm trilingual.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What else do you speak besides,
Spanish and Portuguese.
Ooh, and Sanskrit a little bit, I'm sure.
Yeah, a little bit, right. So,
cool.
And so how can an Ivy League educated trilingual dude who paid his dues in the Democratic apparatus since 2003 get nothing from y'all? Oh, kick rocks. I'm done. Like, I never need to be around you again. And
wow.
Yeah, that, and also, like I said, I called in favors. Like, I had people in the vice president's own office call PPO on my behalf, and it still didn't come through. So there's a part of me, and that's why I said, like, older version of me saw that as racism. Yogi sees that as the ancestors being like, nah.
You think that's what you want, but we're going to do everything.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
So that's why I'm grateful to all these practices that I've acquired and that now practice with regularity, because I have that perspective. Because there's some people who would still be like, can you believe that didn't happen? Yes, I can believe that didn't happen, because in the same way I did not get what I thought I wanted in the Obama era, this teaching practice is kicking ass, taking names. And it started through the coronavirus, talking to a dot in my MacBook Air.
Yes. Okay. Talk about that start. So I feel like we can relate to that, those of us who have lived through the coronavirus pandemic.
Yeah, exactly. So I was working at Move On from 2017 to 2021.
Wow.
And I was in Washington, D.C., and I chose that, right? So very long story short, leave D.C. when I didn't get those gigs in Obama land. Start working for a nonprofit in Denver, Colorado. It was a dream job from day 1 through 6. On day 7, it became a dream job, but more of the nightmare sort.
I feel like there's some biblical references we could pull in here on the 7th
absolutely.
Day.
Absolutely, for sure. Yeah, it went dark. And in a staff meeting, the woman who was the head of the nonprofit, who recruited me, actually, so it wasn't a blind thing, I was recruited to come out there, She got within this close to my face and was basically like, Reggie, there are people here who feel undermined by your being here. And I was like, you racist motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, I can't escape this rate. Oh my God. I moved across the country and $5,000 in the hole and so feels undermined. Yeah, so the job that I took, they took away from me. And they got this close to me and was like, we wonder why you're even here. You're kind of a waste of headcount. And I was like, how in the world can you turn... Wow. That happened that happened super quickly. So,
I do. I mean, I definitely want to ask what happened day 1 through 6.
Yeah, nothing. I came in. It was just.
That's the point, right?
Actually, you know what happened in retrospect? I came in too kind. I came into guns blazing. Like, I was just like, hey, I heard from Joe Biden himself. If we need information or we need a connection to Brazil, because it was a nonprofit that did education to Brazilian students, like the vice president, who I did advance for forever, told me call his office if I need anything for Brazil. So I come into this nonprofit, hey, Uncle Joe says, let's go. You know what I mean? So they took that the wrong way. So rather than being like, hey, how can our nondescript nonprofit who doesn't know anybody in the universe take advantage of this brother coming in from DC? Nah, they got tight and took it away from me because one of my colleagues felt undermined. And so immediately I was like, oh my God, I got to figure something out. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So I started practicing yoga when I did not get those jobs in the Obama administration. And when the job went to hell, I had about 20 days of practice, and I was like, this yoga thing seems to work. So I go into this studio in Denver, Colorado named Kindness Yoga with like $100 in my pocket because I didn't know studios, right? I'm black. I'm 6'3". You know what I mean? Like, I look like a tight end or a linebacker. I ain't no skinny white chick. You know what I mean? So like, I didn't know anything about that world. But walk in there and they were like, we have a 30-day $30 special, and I take out the 100. I was like, I'm gonna be here a lot. My job is bullshit. And started going to yoga asana once in the morning early. Would go to work, get destroyed, and practice at night, and then go to sleep.
It would wear off, and then you would need the next version.
So basically just like a reset, and the discipline of that reset consistently allowed for a transformation that the spiritual practice talk about, but not many people experience because they view them as trinkets, not as like holy law. And so I got fired from that job via text message 10 months later, and they did everything they could to make it horrible for me. When they asked me for an exit interview, I was just like, okay. Y'all know good and hell well, for real, like, nah, for real, that's dumb. But I want to...
You don't want that. I don't think you want an exit.
Yeah, right. But, this is how, and this is why I think I'm a different teacher than most, because, like, I found yoga embodied practice through tremendous adversity. Like, it wasn't like, oh, man, I'm trying to hang out after work. I was like, nah, I'm trying to, like, get my life right because this job is terrible. And, they asked me for the exit interview. I said no, but I was like, I want to thank you. And they were like, for what? Because they're clueless. I was like, I want to thank you for how poorly you treated me because you gave me wisdom. You gave me this yoga practice. So thank you for the lesson and adversity you gave me because I can now alchemize adversity with the best of them.
And check you out now. I want to go back to the moment that you decided to start practicing yoga.
Yeah.
Those 20 days before even you walked into that studio. And I can't get your ancestors out of my head.
Right.
Our ancestors.
Right.
But,
yeah, for sure.
Like, did they, like, how did that piece happen?
Yeah, I've never been asked that question. I've told that story a few, so good on you for asking that question. So, for whatever reason, I didn't get these gigs, and to add insult to injury, I asked for these jobs, and they were like, yeah, we'll give you this recommendation, but it was the 2014 midterms, right? So if you do these trips, we'll do this recommendation for you. So I didn't get the gig at the top of the trip, so I'm on the road for a month. And I'm like, I can't. Why, Reggie? Why are you so damn honest? Like, these people played you. You know what I mean? And you're still like honoring this. So I was like a bit of a sad Sally for about 2 weeks. It took me a while to get my life right. And I made a list. And I was like, as I try and figure out what's going on, like I'm only going to do things that I've never done before, lower my blood pressure, and are kind of artsy and free.
Whoa.
And yeah.
I love that list. That's a pretty, yeah.
Right?
Okay, that's pretty enlightened list.
Yeah, and that could be applicable now, right?
We could all use things on that list. I'm
Right.
like, can you pull that up and just show it to people? Can we post it online?
Exactly. And one of my friends was like, Reggie, you should come to yoga with me. And I was like, never done before for sure. I hear it lowers blood pressure.
Yeah.
And artsy and free, sure. So that's how I got started.
Yeah. Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, friend. Thank you, friend.
My
of
friend
the
Tracy.
ancestors.
Yep.
Oh, shout out. Thank you, Tracy. I mean,
Yep.
the world. Look at what the world would be missing had you not found this path. Look, I mean, just look at what's behind you. Hopefully, some of you are seeing clips of this on video, because talk about the studio behind you. This is symbols of what you built at Active Peace Yoga.
Yeah, so for those of you that can't see, use your imagination. I got a huge Prince pillow sitting on like some quartz crystal bowls. Atop the Prince pillow is Animal that someone gave me. Yeah, right.
Funny enough, Animal has come up in both of the podcast interviews in these
that's cool.
this last week. I just feel like there's some symbolism there. Animal,
Absolutely.
for those of you who don't know, is the craziest of the Muppets.
Yep. Yeah.
I don't even think Animal speaks in words, right?
So there's a really funny old school clip from the Muppet Show where David Carradine teaches Animal how to meditate. So that's like, it is.
Okay, we'll post that. We'll definitely post that.
It's a deep cut.
That is.
And it's very hilarious.
You have access to that.
Yeah, I know, right? Like it's really hilarious. It's somewhat problematic because he says the word Oriental, but it is in the 70s.
Sure. Time
you know
and
what I mean?
place.
So
Yeah.
I guess it's good that he didn't say the Y word, right? Which is yellow, right? You know what I mean? Like America's on some wild stuff. You know what I mean?
That's right. It's not just the 70s, and some of that stuff is coming back.
Correct.
And people are saying out loud without any regard for.
Yeah. Guess who they're not saying? Guess who they're not saying it in front of?
Ooh, would that be you?
I wish they would, sis.
What would happen? Play that out. What would happen?
I mean, there's a phrase that I'm fond of that says, "Do not assume that the man of peace is not skilled at war." Do not assume that the man of peace is not skilled at war. 1. 2, I've fought my entire life against this system that they're trying to bring about, which is stupid. I have the stories of my grandfather, who was a World War II veteran, within me, who came back from the theater fighting for his country only to be told that he could not have access to a restaurant even though it was cold outside. Because he is my grandfather, he put 10 toes down and was like, I just fought for this country. I'm not going to be out here freezing. You can at least let me in the restaurant. And one of his commanding officers, this dumb white boy, said after they were getting out of the restaurant, and this is from a handwritten letter that I've seen from my grandfather written in the 1940s. This white boy says, are all the niggers on the bus? And my grandfather, remember that in the 40s that getting in a white man's face was punishable by lynching. Regardless of whether you were a service member or not. My grandfather, bless him, stood up and was like, I know I didn't hear what I thought I just heard, did I?
Called out.
Yeah, on the bus. And then the guy stuttered and stammered or whatever. And then Poppy said something like, I did not almost die for democracy to be treated this way.
Oh, let's all put that up in our houses.
Right. So those stories are in my blood.
Yeah. Yeah.
My grandfather told me when I was younger, right in high school, I guess he saw me as the nerdy one because he's a very wise man. He told me a story of how after World War II, he's on the GI Bill, and he had like a 5.0 out of a 3.0 because he was just that smart. And they would not believe that those were his scores because ain't no way an N-word is that smart. He told me that story. I went to Yale and have a master's degree from a European institution and speak multiple languages. So I have no respect nor any fear for these trifling idiots rooted in their own self-importance. You mean nothing to me.
You were warned. You
Yeah.
were warned and you were prepared.
You mean nothing to me. You are not legitimate.
Your opinions, like your...
You do
the
not
things
have
that-
sovereignty
even if
over
I-
me.
Wow. Right. Even if I do twice what you have asked me to do, you will then question whether I was the one to actually... Like,
I don't care.
Wow.
So active peace is mine. I
Yes,
do
it
what I
is.
want, the way that I want, for whoever I want. And I say this often, you've been in class with me, like if you don't like it, find somebody else. Because the truth that I seek to embody and teach upon do not need fans, they need devotees.
Tell us about the difference.
So fandom is fickle.
The next flavor of the month.
Yeah.
Move on. Yeah.
Devotion requires sticking with something even when you don't think it's true.
Scary. Yep.
Super
You're
scary.
willing to look at that. You're willing. You have faced it. You're willing to say that to your folks and say, look, I don't need you to question me unthinkingly and unquestioningly. Like I don't
want that.
I want the moments when it feels the hardest and the craziest.
Absolutely.
Talk about the resilience. So yes, resistance training. So resilience is good too. We like that also.
It's kind of both. It depends on the audience.
Yeah. How did you come up with the name? Give folks a little background. This is how we met each other, and I benefited from this greatly. So, yeah.
So, the main story is April 1st, 2024. I had a stroke, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But that is in the past 12 months of my life have been heartbreaking, devastating, and miraculous, all at the same time. So, as someone who has been fighting against this philosophical malevolence for a decade, through Bernie Sanders, through Move On, all these different things, can you imagine how it felt to watch it come back? As someone who almost died, you know what I mean? Like, I don't present like what I've been through, like, you know, but the stroke took a lot out of me. Like, I look at old pictures and was like, oh, you really almost left us, bro. Wow. So to bear witness to the ascension of this malevolence yet again, and I cannot use anger as my fuel because I have a nervous system deficiency. I have a brain injury.
Whoa.
And because my life is my life, I got called to be at Howard on election night. Because like I may not be whole body in, but I got a toe in the world. And that toe was in some pretty important rooms, apparently. So I'm at Howard around 9 o'clock or so. I just get this feeling because yogis get feelings. And I take out my prayer beads and I start to pray. And someone's like, I'm like, shh, if you ever see a spiritual practitioner touch their beads, do not interrupt them. Do not interrupt them because, oh my God, this sucks. And so I just had this feeling, and they adjourned, and I'd been in losing campaign rooms before, and I'm just like, man, I don't know what to do. But I was so pissed that I walked all the way from Howard University to my girlfriend's house in Northeast Washington as someone who just learned how to walk about 3 months before that. Right? Wow. So the stroke took away motor ability in my left leg. So I've had to learn how to walk again. In the past 12 months, I've been on death's door, in a wheelchair, on a walker, having orthotic, with a cane, with a walking stick. I've been through all of it in 12 months. And learn how to walk again, all these other things, rebalance, all like foot come back alive, all these different things. So the election happens. I'm so pissed that I don't even notice that I walked 2 miles. So the energy just whatever, and then I get to my girlfriend's house. I was like, you just walked this whole way, and you really are only.
She's probably a little worried. Yeah.
Yeah, really. I'm like, oh my God. So I don't wake her up. And she knew that something was wrong when she woke up, and I didn't wake her up, whatever. But I woke up the next day, and I probably said the F word like 19 times. And, like, at least,
I'm just going back to the day after Election Day. Yeah, you were in an F-bomb place. Yeah.
Oh, man.
There was a lot of, yep.
Yeah. How did we get here again? What the, like, totally was there. And
right, the again part, and you having gone through it as sort of as someone who the first. So just to be specific, I want to stop and just talk about what did you call it? The philosophy of malevolence, So we're talking about Trump getting elected the first time in 2016 and the second time in 20. But can you talk what? I guess we're really getting into the question, what the heck is happening? Why does this feel so terrible and chaotic and unsettling and overwhelming and mean and destructive? And I have a lot of adjectives, but let's define it.
Yeah. We as a nation suck at grief. We as a nation are well versed at getting our... We push hard situations directly behind us and pretend like they don't exist. The blessing of a stroke is that you can't avoid nothing. In order for you to have a recovery, you have to be brutally honest about your life. You have to be brutally honest about your eating habits. You have to be brutally honest about your blood pressure, blood sugar. Otherwise, you die.
There's no faking it or fudging it and kind of getting around
Absolutely not. And we as a culture do not have the ability to deal with hard things.
We are really bad at it. Why is that? I mean, certainly part of the answer is why you teach and why you have started Active Pete's Yoga is we can't even stop and calm down for a second, let alone deal with hard or scary things. One of my favorite things you have said is that anger is like the little brother getting your attention, and that little brother will get your attention whether you like it or not. It's not going to look the way you want. Anyway, I love that concept. That's a good example, right? Right.
We I gave a teaching one time about I can't remember what it was specifically about, but it was in the context of social justice, racial justice. And so I'm a unique hybrid of hardcore operative, like hardcore yoga practitioner, hardcore Dharma practitioner at the same time.
The Venn diagram is like there's really just Reggie right there in the center. Okay.
Yeah, strategist, musician, like right. So I'm in these, sometimes I'm in these groups and like, I'm just laughing because I'm like, yeah, I belong here, but y'all don't, whatever. So I asked this one woman, I'm like, so riddle me this. Why do white folks get so in their feels when uncomfortable shit comes up? I don't understand. Like, because like as a person of color, we live in uncomfortable stuff, and it's usually other people throwing it at us. So, like, I don't understand how people lose their words when someone says the truth. I really don't understand that, but I feel as though I can ask you that question because I'm trying to learn. Like, as a teacher and as a human, I gotta understand this because otherwise I want to smack people. Like, I really have to put my compassion forward and put my analysis backwards. So, like, what's happening? And this woman, like, she called herself Jubu. Jewish Buddhist. She was just like, honey, and she's from New York. Honey, I'll just tell you like this. White people have never had to live outside their own comfort. I was like, oh.
That's what you're like, ding, ding, ding.
Oh.
Interesting.
White people people who identify as white have never had to live outside their own comfort. They didn't work. Enslaved humans did that. So if someone felt aggrieved because someone whistled at them, they would hang them from a tree and set them on fire. And then you don't talk about it for centuries. That's America's problem.
The whole history. So the history and the experience means, so you're all for feels.
Yeah.
But you're confused because why the uncomfortable and speaking truth and sort of being like
about
being
stuff
attacked.
About stuff that y'all did. Right. Not you, y'all, but like, when people of a lighter hue get upset, I'm like, this is the truth. You act like I'm attacking you with a lie. Like, nah, this happened. Oh, you try and ban books. Right. So, like, the reflex ad nauseum in these United States is to ignore and shift blame. In yogic parlance, that's called samsara. Right? Yeah. So these are well-worn paths of delusion that yield nothing but suffering and destruction.
Versus looking at something in the face and talking about the truth of it.
Right. And dealing with everything that comes up.
Yeah. This is the most powerful part of the meditation practice, especially in a moment like this, right? As far as people, like, this is what people can do right now. Right. Is just feel the feels. Because clearly there's some stuff there.
Right.
And you can't move on and do anything about it or be an effective anything.
We will never have the society we deserve until we individually and collectively can hold space for what has happened. So that's, I mean, I probably said this in the course that you took. I'm shifting my advocacy from politics. We don't have political problems anymore. We have spiritual problems. The inability of people to deal with the truth is a spiritual problem.
It's bigger than politics, is your point.
Yeah, it's bigger than politics.
We have political problems, but the problems we have, like the root problem, I always think about it as the root. Like, what is the actual, like, boil it all down. There's a lot. One of the things that we've explored before is Mother Teresa put it as, we've forgotten that we belong to each other.
Absolutely.
We don't have peace because we've forgotten that we belong to each other.
Right.
That, to me, feels like the core problem, which, as you say, is a spiritual problem. That's not something you can legislate and fix at the ballot box or on the floor of Congress.
If you think you're better than me because of the color of your skin, that's a spiritual problem. If your gender identity, whatever that even means, creates you to force you to create hegemonic structures that oppress other people that are different from you, that is a spiritual problem. That has political manifestations.
Yep.
But these are spiritual problems. And so a lot of the work I'm doing now is focused on the deep healing that's required to look tough situations in the face and deal with them. And I got that wisdom from the stroke.
Because you cannot bargain with a stroke.
No, I was paralyzed, family. I couldn't move my foot or my leg, really. So I had to have honest reckoning with the situation.
Yeah.
And honestly, I called one of my teachers and I was just like, so, you got any chance for neurological destruction and paralysis? I just had a stroke, you know what I mean? So I'm kind of like, whatever, lost. And he was like, I can give you some things to chant, but like, you won't grow and heal until you love your injury.
Whoa.
So if you
talk
love
about radical acceptance.
right. If you love something, you talk to it. You talk about
Instead
it.
of try to about it or above it or
Right.
trying to avoid it.
So my stroke recovery and the articulation of my stroke recovery has been a path through which I've been able to heal radically because I've talked about it from day 2. I posted videos of me limping down a hallway, the strong yoga teacher activist dude that's been there for everybody. I put pictures of my broken physical body and ashen face from a near-death experience on social media.
Wow.
Radical.
Yeah.
Why? I didn't have the energy to hide. Why would I hide that? I did almost die.
Yeah.
And you know what that's done? You know how many hundreds of people have thanked me for being so honest because it forced them to get their shit together?
Wow. Wow.
From all walks of life.
I'm not surprised.
Right. And so like that is kind of how I've gotten a little too hot recently because I've just been going off the handle at folks because like if you come at me with some dumb stuff, I can't take it. You know what I mean? And I won't take it.
Right. You can.
Yeah, I can, but I won't.
But
And
I'm not gonna do that. I love that he just made a gesture that he also made when he was talking about his ancestors blocking him from getting that job. I like that. That's gonna stay with me. I hope everybody. Yeah, we'll put this video out.
Right.
Nope,
so,
I will not.
Because why? The energy that I have is more important in conversations like this than entertaining your foolishness and willful delusion. You know, I've lived 12 lifetimes in the past 12 months.
Wow.
To come
Meaning
back
every day is right. You are living in a way that you couldn't have even glimpsed beforehand. Wow.
I have independent mobility again. That was not guaranteed.
Yeah.
I have the ability to talk without cognitive fatigue for days. Every conversation, every step I take is a miracle. And I would rather focus on amplifying the miracle than amplifying anything that denigrates the miracle.
What falls into that category?
I don't really
Almost
pay attention.
everything else.
Well, yeah, I don't really pay attention to what these cats are doing. Yeah, I pray for their I don't even have to pray for this. You will all like the bill always comes due.
The arc of history is long.
The bill always comes due. Like my poor behavior and genetic makeup, the bill came due on the stroke.
Pretty dramatically.
Yeah, well,
interesting.
I mean, and also you can't put this much hatred in the world.
Yeah.
And nothing happened. Like you can't.
Karmically, it's like
It's right. And like, and I'm not, I don't want anyone to conflate my words about condoning violence. That is not at all what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that like, if I eat sugar for the rest of my life and don't hydrate, I'll have diabetes and no teeth. If I eat salt with no hydration for the rest of my life, I will have a heart rate that's way too high, shriveled up skin. Right. What you consume and or the actions that you put out, like call and response. And I know that firsthand because like I learned about how powerful my teaching practice was because when I said, hey, I'm not doing well, I need you to pray for me. People sent prayers and tea and money and all these things at levels that I wasn't even aware of. I was uncomfortable receiving.
Yeah.
Right? I was like, wow. You know what I mean? Why? Because for years I've been taught that no one cared about me because of the color of my skin. So I had to let go of that deep pathology that I only learned through being sick. So when I say the stroke is my teacher, the stroke gave me tremendous liberation. The stroke has given me tremendous liberation from bad eating habits, from unnecessary conversations, right? From focusing on things that don't matter. So the reason that I was able to come up with this course is I took all of that anger and was like, how can I be of maximum service in this moment that uses my unique perspective to liberate?
Yeah. Right.
And I was like,
I see everything that's going on.
Right.
What is that Venn diagram? Like, and I that is so much of it. Was, as I said, I mean, being in the resistance training, which was a few workshops over the course of weeks, right at the beginning of the year, perfect timing.
Yeah.
You focused in on what you personally, you individually, you uniquely could give and can add. Don't you call yourself the chief? You are founder and chief serving officer.
Absolutely.
Is that right? Chief service officer. I love that. That is the point of some of these. Like the reason I wanted to do this podcast is so that I could do for myself and ideally offer this up to other people as a way to find that Venn diagram of what is needed, where I am on the path, and where we can go together. What do I need to focus on? Where can I put my attention? You know?
And in that program, I'm still thinking of ways to do it asynchronously, but like I knew there was a December cohort and a January cohort and a February cohort. So I wanted to make sure I got those three out there. December, because those are my early adopters. Like weeks after the election, I was just like, listen, I'm the only person that sees this way. Come hang out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of people are offering hot takes rooted in dumb stuff, right? So like none of them
and there's
were
a lot of denial, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even though, right, there still is. I think.
Right.
Well, I have a question for you. Finish your thoughts. Sorry.
I said there are a lot of people who want things to be other than what they are, but only one or two people have been fighting this pathology for 10 years.
Yeah.
And over the past 7 of those 10 years have amassed a practice rooted in yogic and dharmic wisdom fused with his activist sense that gives you ways to discern what's happening and take wise action for your healing and other people's healing. Like, if you want to stay stuck in a loop, I'm not your guy. But like, if you're seeking ways to liberate yourself and help other people in this shitty moment, let's go. And we had about 70 people, you know what I mean, over the course of those three trainings. And if I had $1 for every time someone was like, the framing you gave us before things hit allowed me to have an experience that I didn't know was possible. So they didn't get hijacked, or if they got hijacked, they had the tools to focus on, like, how do I come back to myself? Or, you know, the thing that I say is that awareness is precious. I mean, attention is precious. Awareness, be liberal with your awareness, but particular with your attention. Like, not everything deserves your attention, right? Yeah. The way that this regime is operating under is psychological distress. So if you buy into their tactics by jumping at every little thing, as opposed to being like surgical, you don't have to pay attention to all this stuff. Says
I'm thinking
who?
Of your, and I'm thinking of your, you know, do not assume. Do not assume that the man of peace, the woman of peace, is not
skilled at war.
Skilled at war. In the same way, right? The surgical, like the ability, right? Just because you are not reacting, jumping every time they say jump, that does not mean that you aren't paying attention to the right things and and acting and waiting for the moment.
And I had a front row view for 4 years.
Right. Your job was to pay
Watch
attention
all
to
of
every. Yeah, interesting. Right. You had 10 years of, right, like 4 years of obsession with every little blip and
all of it,
action.
all the tweets. I mean, I remember we like Kafifi, like all this stuff. I remember all that stuff.
Yeah.
These like dumb tweets, like before Truth Social, right? Like whatever, right? So and I knew that I was not being called to do the protests. I could help people discern if it was for them, but energetically and physically, it's not a good look for me right now.
It's not the right match. It's not the.
I do not need to put my energy there.
Yeah. Where do you put your energy?
I invest in the well-being of myself and other people.
You tweet about it. You put it on. I remember, go check out Reggie's Instagram feed and all the socials, because you were checking in with people.
Yeah.
Right? You were, right? Virtual wellness check, everybody. Like, how are you doing? Right?
Right.
You were, before it was cool, before everybody kind of lost their shit.
Right.
It's that is right. So as you look around in this crazy moment, the best and highest your Venn diagram, the thing that you uniquely can do, you said invest in your own and others' well-being. Mm-hmm. And talk about what else that looks like for you, and if you want, sort of, what have you learned from the resistance training and the people, like the feedback from people, like you said, you've given them, before things happened, they had the preparation and the sort of groundedness to take the assault and then come back to themselves. I mean, what could be more powerful?
Right. I play a lot of sound for folks. Again, as a stroke survivor, I'm aware of what it feels like to have your nervous system under duress. The problem with us as a society is that we're so stressed out. Our nervous systems are strong, resilient, and very fragile. Most people haven't had their stuff short circuit. So you don't understand the importance of your system because it hasn't failed you. If you remember nothing from hearing my words, you do not want the system to fail for you to appreciate how resilient it has to be.
Don't wait. Appreciate.
Yeah.
We can print T-shirts. That rhymes.
Absolutely. Like, do not, like, if you have a stroke, I hope your recovery is as miraculous as mine, but this is not easy.
Yeah.
And I would not recommend this even on someone I would call an enemy. Because the fortitude you must summon to be with a body that is not responding as it once did for 49 years. That is humbling. That is... It brings about a lot of grief. You grieve the choices that you made. The bad choices I made on campaign trails. Yeah. However, I had enough in the bank because of my yoga and meditation practice to survive the stroke. And these yoga and meditation practices, the depth that I had to get in them when I was on my back has built back better. I mean, let's make a political pun.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think we bring that whole concept back. That's right. This if there were ever a moment to look around and be like, okay, so it's all crumbling. Good news. Build back better.
Right.
I know they abandoned that messaging, but
that's neither trite nor cliche, right? Like it's necessary. Yeah. And we talked about this in resistance and resilience training, is that you can't undo all the things they're going to do, but what you can do is hold space to protect those that are under duress and create something new. right? The teaching practice, the way that I'm teaching, all the stuff that I'm doing is brand new. No one can take
And
that away
also
from
ancient.
me. Yeah, right. Right.
Right.
Right. No one can take that away from me.
That's right. That's right. That is mine. That is what I'm going deep on. Oh,
Right.
Reggie, I am hopeful that you will close us out. So, would you do something to close us out?
I'd love to. Do you have a particular flavor that you're seeking?
Ooh, I guess honestly, what I'm craving the most, I feel like this is the stuff, right?
Yeah.
What do we do, right? And I think the first answer is to pull the shoulders down, invest in the well-being of ourselves and the people around us, protect the people under duress, and create something new. If you can meditate, I would love to go deep.
Yeah, for sure. So, with gratitude for the chance to have been in conversation with you and for all listeners, may this have been medicinal, nourishing, and informative to you. I do not believe that anything that comes out of my mouth, if it's not to serve one's liberation and healing, then it's a waste. And so I hope that this effort has been in keeping with the vows that I offer. And let me also say, as we transition to a contemplative experience, trouble doesn't last always. I taught this past weekend at Kripalu Institute for Yoga and Health in Massachusetts, and I taught something about spring. You know, and Lauryn Hill said it best in her song, "Everything is Everything." After winter must come spring. Must come spring. The winter of my stroke has yielded the spring of my recovery. Because I follow the signs. The winter of the malevolence that we are currently experiencing because of misguided people who don't understand that time ever marches forward. Right? And time is an arbitrary construct anyway, but even in this arbitrary construct, it never goes back. It always marches forward. We must also remember that their ignorance will never supplant our creative brilliance. Never. However, if you give up the agency of your creative brilliance for their ignorant malevolence, you've just abdicated your entire power. Right? So, remembering that the creative act is the most sacred. That's why they want us to be automatons. Like, they don't want you to remember that you don't have to do what they say.
Resistance.
The blessing of being in black skin in a majority white society is that I never fit in the first place.
You don't have to shed that skin.
No. This was never for me, and I still dominated.
Don't call it a comeback.
Nah, been here for years.
Thank you. Thank you.
Been here for years. So that resilience, that wisdom is all of our birthright, you know? Like, I talk a lot about my ancestors. My people could not vote.
Right.
However, I used to advise the House of Representatives in bolos and or bow ties and swanky kicks, right? You know, like, you know, so they've already lost.
Boom. You heard it here, people.
We just have to bring forth how we've won.
And it has to be better and new and different. Yes.
Right. It doesn't exist in propping up things that need to fall away.
Yeah.
It
Creative
exists.
destruction.
and I talked about this in the first resistance training. There is this Japanese concept called kitsugi.
Oh, yes. I wish I had my piece to show
right.
you. Yes.
How you rebuild from the shattered pieces is the art. Mm-hmm. That's the art.
That's where the gold paint goes, not just glue. You
right.
use gold paint to make sure it's obvious that this was shattered and heartbroken, and yet now
absolutely.
It is a piece of art.
So we can call upon that wisdom, the collective wisdom of our resilience, and rebuild from this shattered experience something that they can't touch. Because it's not for them. It's for all of us. It's bigger than them. And that's not just me saying that. Like, that is, James Baldwin said this to us.
Yes.
Toni Morrison said this to us.
Right.
Nikki Giovanni said this to us. Frederick Douglass said this to us. Harriet Tubman said this to us.
Harriet Tubman definitely said this to us.
Like Sojourner Truth. Like, there are legacies. My grandfather said that to me. Right? Like, this energy, which is right behind us, we just have to sit with it long enough for it to come forward. It's already there. We just have to be still, remember that we're part of a continuum. And again, reciting the truth of the Buddhist principle of impermanence, like, this won't last forever. Nothing lasts forever. And the seeds for the future that you hope for live directly in how you engage with this present moment. If you feed this present moment with despair and, oh, this'll never, guess what? You'll have the most luxurious despair tree.
If you believe you can or you believe you can't,
you're both right.
Correct. That's right.
Right. I believe we can, and I believe we will. We just have to remember that we can.
Yeah. Yeah. And so the work is investing in the ways that help us remember. We don't have to make it up. It's not all new and crazy and different. It's remembering.
Absolutely.
I'm so grateful. Reggie Hubbard, what a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks for the invitation.
Thank you.